Namaste and welcome back to another episode of the Sapient. Today we have a guest from a land that we have not spoken to before. So, welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Ganesh.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm great. Just started my day. Had a short walk. And back on here.
Got it. And where are you based out of?
Oh, currently, I'm in Port Harcourt. So Port Harcourt is in southern Nigeria.
Got
Yeah.
it. And do you have access to fresh water?
Oh, oh yeah. Funny enough, Nigeria has a lot of Africa in general has a lot of perception. So I actually do. So do I have rain? There's rain
Mhm.
falling, a really good rain. Then apart from
Nice.
that too, like where I stay, each house has like a borehole
Mhm.
borehole. So there's this central water supply that's there,
Mhm.
but each house has a borehole. So like we just drill into the ground, and you have your
Mhm.
pump and you have tanks, storage tanks.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
practically every house has that. Yeah, so we have fresh water from there.
Nice. Yeah. If you said you did not have water, yeah, UN would be contacting you. We would definitely FedEx you some water.
No, don't mind them. They're actually here. They just I just see them driving around with their SUVs and not doing much else.
What about food? What about food?
Oh, oh yeah. For food. It's actually we grow most of the things we consume
Hmm.
here.
Yeah,
Yes, we grow most of the things we
nice.
consume here.
So you do have food, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So to
And
my
really cheap.
friends, yeah, to my Western friends, guys, don't worry. You can have your food, right? If you don't like the food, you could probably waste it because, yeah, the rest of the world, me being a representative from Asia, right, and Peter being representative from Africa, I think we're good.
Very good,
Right,
very good. Because
right.
actually, I used to live in the UK for a
Hmm.
while, for a
Yeah,
while.
I know
But
where you're going.
yeah,
I know where you're going.
and
I know.
a lot of people ask that, oh, how do you this and that? Actually, prefer living here because when I look at it, the
Yeah.
cubicle sized house I used to pay for back in the UK, I have a two
Yeah.
bedroom. I have a large 2 bedroom apartment here with a garden and
Mhm.
everything. My rent for a year here is like
Mhm.
less than a month for what I was paying in the
Nice.
UK.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So I would say we are living better lives.
Yeah, it
Right.
is. But most people don't understand it. And I'm actually very relaxed. My blood pressure is very low, no stress.
Uh, yeah. You don't have to worry about being mugged at least.
Yeah, more than and taxed to breathe.
Yes. 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 That is a point. That's a valid point actually. Yeah. Yeah. And at least you don't have to pay for your own oppression. Right.
No.
Yeah. Man, if I had any British listeners today, I lost them. Right? They're like, you're making fun of our miserable, conditions.
No, actually, my friends in the UK, most of them, they complain about the same thing. First of all, about the weather. The weather is the
Yeah, yeah.
British weather is just it has a mind of its own. Like I know when I used to live there, if it's summer, if it's winter, if it's autumn, take your jacket out
Mhm.
because the weather can just change in seconds.
Yeah, yeah,
So the weather was just the first problem. Then I think
yeah, man. So,
it's just
yeah,
gray and miserable, and they agree with me.
just agree.
They agree with me.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, yeah, you have seen it too, Yeah, because I've never been to UK. So, if someone's, if I said something, they're like, you've never been to UK. But in your case, they cannot say that, right? They're
They
like,
can't.
yeah, man, you've been there. Yeah, yeah. But I feel like Nigeria is one of those underrated countries in the world, which has rapid growth and potential. Um, but I also feel good that it is underrated, right?
Yeah.
Because any um, you know, I feel like India and Nigeria are like very similar, even in culture, right? Because we
Yeah.
have had those exchanges before we both became slaves, right? And
Yeah.
that kind of sync in culture, um, yeah, because even in I have Nigerian friends over here, um, and they're like, yeah, like Indians are just Indians, like we know them. It's not like somebody from a different country as such,
Yeah.
right? Do you think, right, the way that we look at development is reversed when in terms of countries?
Mm, when we look at development, especially for let's say India, Nigeria, Lebanon, countries on that same level, one thing I tell people is that these countries are really young countries. They
Hmm.
are really
Yeah.
new countries, yes. Because like Nigeria had its independence in 1960, so that's just roughly like
Hmm.
60 years ago. Nigeria is a 60-year-old country.
Yeah,
The
India is like 75. So
the country you're comparing to, US had their independence 1770.
yeah, yeah,
There
right.
is your 75-year-old country to a 300,
Hmm.
200-year-old country. Because I tell people
Yeah.
that if you look at 60-year-old America, it was worse than
Hmm.
India or Nigeria right now. You had the
Yeah.
plague, you had people dying on the roads, you had the wild, wild west, you had everything going crazy. You go to the UK, you read the story of Oliver Twist, you read the story of the chimney sweeps. The places were dreadful
Hmm.
when they were as young as these places. So that's one thing I say,
Yeah.
that we are at a different level of development, and that gives you a lot of advantages too. Because if you have
Hmm.
a country with so many things that can be fixed, so many problems, then you're just living in opportunity.
Yeah.
You have so many here. And you
Hmm.
now have the population, the really smart, educated, large population there.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
so many
but I also
advantages.
feel like, right, Europe. If you forget Europe and I'm Northern America, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to Africa and Asia, we don't have homelessness as such, right? It's just because of our tradition and our family
Yes.
values, um,
Yes.
and therefore we don't pay for our own oppression in a way, right? Because city
Yeah.
of California has like a million homeless people.
I think I used to live in Leicester in the UK. When I was living in Leicester, there was one thing. I think every Monday back then there was this charity Feed Leicester. So I used to
Hmm.
volunteer to. We used to what they used to do was go to the restaurants, their excess food. You go to the Leicester markets on Monday
Hmm.
evenings, 7 p.m. or so. The homeless people come in there and you share that food to them. I used to volunteer there, and
Hmm.
it was really, really shocking. It's something that when I tell people back in Nigeria, they're really shocked. They're like, "What? That
Yeah.
happens?" Because and then I used to talk to a lot of these people who are homeless, and when you look at it, it's actually really, really, really easy to become homeless
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Because let's say you pay I talked about the rent not long ago. You
Mhm.
pay that rent every month, and that rent is like maybe half or three-quarter of your salary that you
Yeah.
collect every month. And as you pay that rent every month, let's say a lot of these people, maybe they lost their job, they couldn't find a job for like 2, 3 months, and you're homeless.
Yeah.
And once you're homeless, it's a problem, because when you're applying to jobs, when your banking, your everything is linked to an address. When you get homeless, you no longer have an address, so it makes it harder for
Yeah.
you to get a job. It makes, so you get a lot of people, maybe they lost a job for like 2, 3 months, they get
Yeah.
homeless. It transforms into maybe 2, 3 or more years homeless, just
Mhm.
the way the system is built. And like you said, it's different with
Yeah.
us, with India,
Right.
with Nigeria. Yes, you can't. First of
Mhm.
all, the housing is a lot cheaper. First of all, and
Mhm.
apart from that, too, you're living among your people. We have a different tradition. You can just go to. I have a
Yes.
spare room in my house, so
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And it's also like, we are also a capitalistic country, right? But our capitalism works in a very different way, because
yes.
I feel like we are very cost conscious, right? Like people don't give a shit about premium, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Like,
and I think another thing. So we are very independent, because, like I
yes.
tell people in Nigeria, in Nigeria, we are typically each person. Okay, I told you about the water that each person has their
Hmm.
own borehole. So
Yeah.
you build a house, you sink, you drill a borehole. That's the
Uh-huh.
same thing for
Yeah.
light, for power. I have my own
Hmm.
solar system. So right now I'm on
Hmm.
solar. I have solar panels. I have a battery. I have
Yeah.
everything. So I'm typically, I tell people that in these countries, we are typically our own governments. I provide my own power.
Hmm.
I provide my own water. I provide my own
Yeah.
security. So
Yes.
we don't really care that much about the government. We are not really dependent on the government. Most
Yes.
things we provide for ourselves. But in these Western places, a lot of what you want is dependent on the
Hmm.
government. A lot. So you go
Right.
to a country,
Yeah.
if there's a power cut, you're screwed.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
public water goes off, you're finished. I
Hmm.
think I think there was a time when I in Coventry, that was some years ago. I can't remember what happened, but the water went off. We didn't know what to do, and it was winter.
Oh God. Yeah. 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 That is true.
Yes.
But also, I feel like the Western capitalism is very different, right? Like they look to make money on everything,
Yes. Even
right?
Britain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Britain especially. Um, but screw them, they fucked us for 200 years, so screw them kind of. But I also feel bad for people, right? Because they charge even for small things. um,
Yeah.
Peter, it was like until like 2 years ago, I did not know. I have like cousins who live in United States, right? um, I did not know that when a baby is born, right, the first contact with the mother, skin to skin contact,
Yeah.
uh, they charge $30 to $100 for that.
Huh? Like
that
your
was
own
that
child
was
or a
my
borrowed
reaction.
child.
No, your own child. Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
the child that you literally, right, worked hard for 9 months to keep safe, and you worked hard for its birth, and for that child to touch your particular skin, you need to pay hospital for like $30 to $100.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, what more could you make money on, right? Like right now, I think it's Vancouver. Like they have a tax called as rain tax. Yeah. Yeah. If you told to less developed countries, right, that you need to start paying rain tax, there'd be revolution. Right?
Yeah.
Or they would be just blatant. You know what? I'm not going to pay. What are you going to do?
Yes. Exactly.
And
I think
governments
they
would be
had that
like,
in Kenya recently, where they tried to tax them and the
"Mhm."
whole country. I think they are still protesting till now, probably.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I mean, we have less authorities, right? And a common man has more control over their own lives because
Yes.
our communities are still stronger,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like the
Yes.
breakdown of joint families, and the basic culture of Western citizens, and which resulted in like nuclear families, right? You cannot you cannot administer control or power in a nuclear family. They're just like four people.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yes.
whereas when you are living in a joint family or your community is very strong, right, government
It's
cannot do much about it.
Yes, yes, and I think that was one of the biggest things that made me make the decision to spend more of my time in Nigeria. That was during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic.
Hmm.
In the UK, it felt like prison,
Yeah.
literally. The
Hmm.
pandemic, the lockdown, you couldn't move, everybody was monitoring you. And then I come back here, we had lockdowns, but I go in my car, I go buy whatever I want to buy and come back and nobody really cares. I'm like, so what am I doing in prison if I'm free? Like I'm literally free
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Like there were lockdowns, but they were not, I didn't feel jailed, I didn't feel locked up
Hmm.
or anything. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because even in India, it was the same thing, right? Like at the starting, everybody was scared of COVID,
Yeah.
but when the second time came and they were like, lockdowns, and villages were like, "Fuck you, man! I'm going on my thing. I'm doing my thing, like."
Do you want me to die at home?
Yeah, yeah. I just don't want to. I just don't feel like doing it. So they were like, yeah, I'm just not interested in following your um, rules. And I feel like that's why India is more of a authoritative democracy, because we are just assholes, man. We will not listen to you. Yeah, because governments in India have worked very hard to make people follow rules. People just don't like rules. Yeah, maybe it has to do with the colonial experience, but
No, no, I think
yeah,
I
we
think it's the same thing when you look at the US from the past. You know, all this
yeah.
First Amendment, Declaration of
Hmm.
Independence, it's the same thing. It's the way they started. Because
Yes.
when they, if you hear of the Boston Tea Party, I think they had a war. If even the independence happened
Hmm.
because the British colonialists tried to tax tea, and the tax was a very
Yes.
small percentage. The
Yeah, it was like 2%.
exactly,
Yeah.
and the revolt.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I say about the age of the country. We are at that stage.
Yes.
We're there.
Yes. Yes.
Now
Exactly.
they're
We
just
are in
really,
that
yes.
stage.
Now
Yeah.
they're taxing
So
them 50, 60%, and nobody's talking.
right. Yeah. Correct. Exactly. But I don't feel that underdeveloped countries could ever tax that kind of money,
No.
because people would
Why?
just not pay.
Yeah, because like, what are you doing for me? I'm providing my
Yeah.
light, my water, and you want to tax me for what?
Exactly. Exactly. Because it would be like existence tax, right? You have to pay because you exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so you are also a fellow podcaster. Um, so why did you do it?
Why did I do a podcast? Okay, I think there are two reasons. Two reasons I
Hmm.
did it. The first reason is that I felt when I was younger, I was an introvert. What people would usually say back then was they haven't heard me say more than 10 or 20 words. I hardly spoke to
Hmm.
anybody. I would rather
Hmm.
text. Even in my office back then, I'd rather text
Hmm.
someone in the same office with me than talk
Hmm.
to them. So that's how I was. But
Hmm.
when I started my business target ICT, first of all, I realized I now had to start going on sales calls because it was different from what I had
Hmm.
before. Before I just
Yeah.
had businesses where I put up ads, people buy from the ads. I don't need to know them or talk to them. But this, I'm talking to fellow business owners. They need to know who they are, who is dealing with them. They need to know that I know what I'm doing, and then I'll have to get on sales calls for that. And I'm not. Why do I have to do this? So, so the podcast. First of all, it was a way to get comfortable doing something I hate.
Hmm.
I was really uncomfortable doing, which is something like this, talking to a stranger
Hmm.
online. That was one. Then the second thing, the second thing was that from businesses I did before and with Target ITT, I would usually put up blog posts for two reasons. First of all, to refer people to, maybe they ask a question, I'm like, okay, we made a blog post on this, go and read it and you get everything about this question. And secondly, to drive traffic to the business because the same way people want those to answer those questions, they would
Hmm.
also search online and get find our blog post and everything. So yeah, so I did it for different businesses, also for Target ICT. So, but when I did the blog post, I realized that during the pandemic, I started listening to podcasts. I used to read blog posts, other blog posts, but I'll just skim, go to the end. I'm like, okay, I'm good. But for podcast, I put a podcast in my earphones and 2, 3 hours, I'm listening to everything. I'm driving, I'm walking, I'm listening to everything.
Yes.
I'm like, wait, this thing has my full attention. So why
Hmm.
don't I use those blog posts as podcast episodes? So at least
Hmm.
anybody listening will at least get the full value of it rather than skim like I do. So yeah, so that was the second reason why I started the podcast. Yeah.
Okay, so not because you had a lot of time, like me.
Not at
Yeah.
it's draining. It's actually draining actually.
Yes. Yes. Podcast is draining, but it's also fun for me at
It
least.
is. It is.
Yeah,
It
because
is.
I am a very weird kind of human. I like to talk to like new people every day. Right. That is exactly what my parents taught me to. Do not talk to a stranger.
and
right?
and he decided to be a rebel.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I decided to be the black sheep of my family. I'm like, yeah, let me talk to strangers all day long, you know. Yeah. But also I feel like the reason that podcasts work is um it demands less attention, right? If you watch the video, you'd have to, ironically my podcast is also on video, like on YouTube, but when if you listen to me on Spotify or Amazon, wherever you want, right, you're just doing anything, and it's just in the background, right?
Yes.
Like all the you know stress and tensions in life, like in the background, the podcast is also in background. So I feel like it demands less attention. And once you I would say once you accommodate a particular conversation like we're having, it's very hard for people to break that and hit pause,
Yes.
because they're just enjoying, so they're
Yes.
like, okay,
Yes.
let me listen to this, right? Yeah, let me do you have guests on your podcast?
Oh yes, 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 yes. I do. I do.
Who was your weirdest guest?
Who was my weirdest guests?
Hmm.
I can't really think of any.
Yeah, because you have a very professional podcast, my dude, that's why.
Yeah, I think everybody's just put together and being their best selves and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they are behaving themselves on your podcast.
Yeah, I think let me see. Okay, I think I had a guest once. I think I had a
Uh-huh.
guest once who kept turning his camera off for some
Hmm.
reason.
Nice.
Who
Let,
kept
let,
turning his
let me
camera
try it.
off for some
Let me try
reason.
it. Yeah, I just switched it off.
Exactly, something like
Okay.
that. So he did like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, and I now pause the record. I'm like, okay, what's wrong? And he's like,
Hmm.
he's weird, so he's trying to adjust himself.
Nice. Nice. Peter, if that's your weirdest guest, you are set, man. You are better than me. Yeah.
What happened to you?
I have had fascists, communists, um, like absolutely, like the outcasts of society on my podcast. I have had telepathic healers, people who are nearly psychotic, people who loved fascism and Nazi rule. Like, yeah, man, I have had the whole spectrum of people on my podcast. Yeah, yeah. So if you ask me who was the craziest, I would have to give you an Excel, man, like with probably 20 people.
Long list of them.
Yeah, it's a long list of people, I would say. Yeah, but I feel like, since you have a very polished and professional podcast, right? um, do you prepare at all, like beforehand? Do you do your research? Do you send the questions to guests, or what's your process?
Oh yeah. At first I used to send the questions to guests, but I realized when I asked like maybe 1, 2, 3 questions, I get something else that's interesting, and we just leave the questions and we go.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
apart from that, too, having the questions set, I was always tense. I won't even listen to the guest. I'm waiting for them to finish. I ask the next question, so it was just listen to the
Yeah.
episode. Sounded so off to me.
Hmm.
So yes, I
Yeah.
changed this time. I just study up on the guests, read up on
Hmm.
them, then try to know, okay, what's the best thing my audience would like to know from this person. Then I
Hmm.
try to have the questions go around that best thing. And I think that works better for me.
Got it. Yeah, because I feel like, sending questions beforehand is like cheating, right? But it also stops the conversation from evolving,
Going off track, yeah.
right? Because what happens is, you ask for lemons and he said, put the lemon in water, and your next question is, how does lemon taste, right? Like, the
Yes.
connection doesn't really make sense. Yeah, man, but I'm very lazy, to be honest. you know I do like 5 to 10 minutes of looking up the person, and that's all. Yeah, I don't do much work. Yeah, that's how
Interesting.
I'm able to do like three to four episodes in a day.
Wow. Wow. I think I think I'll probably quit if I have to do that.
Yeah, because you are my third person today.
Wow. What time is it
Yeah,
there?
it's like 1 o'clock in the
Wow.
afternoon. My first was like 6:30 to 8 in the morning, right? And then one more
Nah,
10:30 to 12, and
no, I'm
next
not
then
doing
from
that.
12:30 to now. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, but what I have observed is, right, when you do multiple guests or episodes in a day, right? Um,
Mhm.
the third or the fourth, like the last guest is whoever it is, right? They benefit the most because you have done your warm ups in the past two episodes, and you're mindful of mistakes that you're doing. So when you come to the third or fourth, the last guest of the day, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty much set, and the conversation is, I would say, the best. If you want to have that kind of, if you're looking at that kind of point of view, yeah. So I would say my episodes are better than yours because I just don't do research, man. So
I can
yeah.
agree with that because
So
I think when I when I come on podcast, I actually don't
mhm,
do research, and I actually enjoy them more
nice.
because when
Yeah.
I first started going on podcast, that was maybe this July, maybe 7 8 months ago. I'll try
Mhm,
to research and I'll try to know what kind of questions I want to answer, and then
mhm,
if I have a podcast by 2 p.m., I won't be able to do any work
yeah.
till 2 p.m. because I'm so tense waiting for the podcast to
Mhm,
come up and all that. But these days, I don't even bother myself. I don't look at the podcast, okay, yeah, I'll talk about that's fine. And when the
yeah.
podcast comes, I just let it flow. And it's just so
Mhm,
much like, I think I was walking and now check my time. I'm like, come on, I have 5 minutes gone, but I had to run back home and just turned off every.
yeah.
If you notice, when we came up, I was trying to set up my lights. I don't,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't have that pressure anymore. And it's actually so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I think I know why that kind of technique works, right? Because if you look at it from a viewer or a listener perspective, right, when they click on the show, right, and if I said uh, fun conversation with Peter, right,
Yeah.
they know you as just Peter. They don't know your character, they don't know how you look, how you sound, right? So they are completely
Yes.
empty in terms of your introduction, right? And if I did my research, I knew who was Peter, right? I listened to like two episodes of you, and then then
Oh,
I would know, right? Then I am
yes.
starting this particular conversation from a point of
At a
knowing
different
you.
level. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes what happens is audience are, they're like, yeah, I cannot connect with you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
true.
that's why I avoid research, and I avoid heavy work before episodes, because I generally know what I'm talking about. I might be ignorant, but I generally know what I'm talking about. And yeah, so that's how it helps me if I don't do research. Because what used to happen is, when I did the research, right, I would be fixated on things, right? Like, for example, if you gave an opinion that was wild, I would be hell bent on getting your opinion on the same thing, because I know it's like you have a different opinion.
Yeah.
But what happens is, that's like preposition, right? I've already positioned myself in a particular direction where I will mess up, there's no doubt about it. So I was like, well, no, let me stop this and have more flowing conversations.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what people like too. So I'm like, thank you for saving my
for,
heartburn,
for
right?
agreeing with me.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So you're also an entrepreneur, right? You
Yes.
have a business, and you said you had multiple businesses.
At a point.
So how easy was it?
I think having one business is typically the hardest thing anybody would do in their life.
Hmm.
Building a business, it's like everything breaks every day. Things go wrong
Hmm.
every day, and you're supposed to just act cool and calm, like nothing's wrong.
Hmm.
Then I did that, and at a point I had four of that at the same time, and I was my life was crazy. Like I used to leave my house like 6:30. No, I don't. I used to get to the office like 6:30 in the morning. I won't get back home before 8 every
Mm-hmm.
single day. Like everything used to go wrong. Like as I get to the office, I open my email. There's problem. My staff count, my staff could start coming in like maybe 8, 9 o'clock. Oh, this went wrong. Oh, this went wrong, and it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like my
I
blood
feel
pressure
you.
was literally high then.
Yeah, there is this guy on Instagram. He's a business coach, right? And he
Hmm.
himself is pretty rich, so people listen to rich people, right?
Yeah.
He said once, it was very controversial, but he said running business is like getting pregnant. Everybody congratulates you, but nobody knows how many times you had to get fucked.
He's very right.
Right? Yeah, they would say, yeah, the process is similar.
Yes.
And you know, yeah. And how many business did it take you, right, to actually learn how to run business in a day-to-day business?
um. Okay, I think that question is good because you say to actually learn how to run business. Because the first business I started was
Yeah.
2010. That was just me. So it was a
Mhm.
web hosting business. It was just me on my bed in my underwear, taking payments from everybody.
You're making it sound like OnlyFans.
Selling food photos.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but my feet aren't cute, so I had to sell web hosting.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I used to work from my bedroom then, and so
Mhm.
it wasn't really complicated. It wasn't really
Mhm.
complicated. So I think that worked. Funny enough, because one thing people say is that the first business doesn't really work for
Yeah.
people. That worked. So that gave me the confidence. I started the next
Mhm.
one. Next one was a grill. That in that business I had staff.
Mhm.
I had staff. So I think that's where what you said, learning how to run a business came in
Mhm.
because I started that business. It was working. I think at the height, it had about 5 branches. It was
Mhm.
working when I was around because every day I used to supervise. I
Mhm.
used to supervise. Then at a point, that was early 2013. I got a scholarship to go on a master's in the UK.
Mhm.
So I had to leave the business. The business was in Nigeria. I had to leave
Mhm.
the business, went to the UK. You won't believe that in 3 months, all 5 branches shut down.
Mhm.
They
Got it.
stole the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel it.
They
Yeah.
stole the hell out of me because back then I didn't know anything about systems. I didn't know anything about processes. I just used
Mhm.
to wake up in the morning, take whatever they sold at night, give them money to restock, and I was just
Mhm.
balling, enjoying my money and everything. So when I traveled, I'm like, okay, bring records. They tell me, oh, the freezer in this location went bad, so all the stock in the freezer went bad. Oh,
Mhm.
this location, the manager, there was a problem in the management, so we couldn't
Mhm.
sell for a week. All of a sudden, like I used to collect money every morning, and all of a sudden, nothing is coming in.
Mhm.
Like, what's wrong? What's wrong? So at the end of the day, I was in the UK. I had to send my brother to the locations to just pack all my equipment, my freezers, we're doing shawarma. I don't know if you have shawarma in India.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
that's
do.
like
Yeah.
yeah. So we were doing shawarma, grilled chicken, all those things. I had to pack my shawarma ovens, everything. Gave
Mhm.
some to my mom, gave some to my this thing, sold all the rest, all the equipment, and I was so happy to be free of that business. But I think over time, it made me
Yeah.
learn the importance. I think it was around I started another food business in the UK with a friend. So that was delivering Nigerian food in the UK in
Mhm.
Wolverhampton. Then I started a fourth food. I think it was at the fourth food business when
Mhm.
I did it with two other people. That's when I figured out the importance of having systems, the importance of having processes, the importance of documenting everything. Because I remember back then, In the second business, when we were doing shawarma, the first person doing shawarma was awesome. And then I said, okay, let's do shawarma in the second location. And shawarma was tasting like beans. I'm
Yeah,
like, it's not
nice.
beans in shawarma. Why does it taste like
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, so it was in the fourth food business, and I realized that you need to have recipes, you need to have the
Mhm.
quantities, you need to have
Yeah.
everything, the times they put things on the fire and everything. So
Mhm.
this core business, when we had multiple branches, the food was the same taste everywhere. The food was the same
Mhm.
quality everywhere because rather than
Yeah.
using the expertise of our chef, they just follow
Mhm.
what we've already put down. So we could just hire anybody that just knew how to put things on fire and they'll get
Yeah.
something close or something good
Mhm.
because we had everything.
Correct.
So I think that's, yeah, it was at the
Yeah.
fourth business I actually learned. That was
Do,
2014,
do you
15.
think? Yeah. Do you think that was a business where you understood the difference between a business worker and a business owner? Right, because you stepped up and everything just got fucked. You're like,
No, I think I used to be I don't know if I still am, but at that point I still used to be a control freak. So I don't know how to
Mhm.
cook. I didn't know how to cook. I still don't know how to cook. So I didn't really bother myself what they were doing. I just okay made sure they were following these things. But still, I used to go there every day. I still wanted to go there every day. So I think
Yeah.
it was going forward after that business I
Mhm.
started. No, I think after I had to shut down everything, that's when I realized that I don't really need to just be over everybody all the time.
Yes.
because
Yeah.
that's the reason why going to the office, everybody was bringing their problems to me. Because
Mhm.
I just wanted to be the chief problem solver.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Warren Buffett. He said that most business owners fail because they operate as a fire rescue station rather than the city hall. Right.
Yes,
There is no administration, nothing. It's just the business owner, acting as everything.
I'm telling
These like,
you.
yeah, if they had like 10 hands, they would have no staff probably.
They whiz all of them.
They're like, yeah, I don't want anybody. I can handle it. So, what were the changes, right, that you made in your current business because you got your ass kicked in the previous businesses, where you were like, okay, let me improve and bring changes, right? So, what were
Yes.
those even minor changes that you might have made in this business, the current
Okay,
business?
so yeah, so first of all, being that chief problem solver, I got rid of that. I got rid of that because before, when everybody wakes up, everybody comes to work, they're like, okay, this is not working, this is not working, up to the internet is not connecting, and they're like, the internet is not connecting. Like, how is that supposed to be my problem?
Yeah, you would
How?
have been like, you sound like my mother. Oh yeah.
So one change I made, especially for that, was that when people come with their problems to me, rather than giving them a solution and getting them addicted to getting solutions from me, what I'll do is, I think I learned this from was it a podcast or something when I was during COVID time. What I do these days is, okay, come to me with a problem. I'm like, okay, so what are the best solutions, best three solutions you can give to this problem?
Mhm.
The person gives three options they can use to solve the problem. I tell them, okay, so what's the best one? So by the time I ask them what's the best one, they're like, okay, I have the solution actually, so they leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, these days I don't really, when you force them to actually think, because most of the time when they come
Mhm.
to their problems, they don't want to think, they don't want to stress and so they just want to, okay, just see his problem, he's the owner of the business. But now when I
Yeah.
get them to think of three solutions, and when they know that
Mhm.
if they come to me, they're going to think, they just do it
Yes.
themselves, and I think I have a lot less headache. So that's
Mhm.
one of the changes. Then second change is documenting everything. Back the food business I talked about before, we had everything on Excel sheets, Google Sheets, the recipes, everything. But I think technology has gone forward. These days I do videos. So if it's something
Mhm.
I can do or that I have to do and I have to pass over, especially for my assistants, maybe things I have to do. What I just do is when I'm doing it, I just do a video. I use Loom most times, do a Loom video.
Mhm.
Okay, talk over the video. This is how I'm doing this. You click here, you click here, you do this, you do that, you do this. I save the video. So
Mhm.
if they have questions, if I get a new person, rather than having to teach that person one on one, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the list of videos. Go through these videos. If you have any
Mhm.
questions, let me know. So if they
Mhm.
have any questions, I know that part wasn't well explained. I just do a new video for that one. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm at peace.
Yes. So to break your peace, here is my next question, right? Um, how was the transition, right, from being an action taker in your business to being a spectator, where you watch your people work, to provide
It's
solutions?
it was and it is still
Mhm.
difficult.
Dude, you sound like like a sport coach. You're like, why are you not hitting the goal? Give me the ball. I will show it to you.
It is because personally, I am a very hands-on person. Like before I started
Mhm.
business, before anything, when I was a child, I used to be this person who would. I used to open up everything, open the TV, open the radio, open the speakers to know what
Mhm.
happened work to not decide. Even till now, I like the solar system I have. I installed
Mhm.
it during this pandemic. I did everything myself. I didn't study electrical engineering or anything. I don't.
Mhm.
I just figured it out and just wired them. I think the only
Yeah.
thing I called someone to do was to go on the roof because then I was fat, so I didn't want to fall down the ladder or fall down
Yeah.
fall down the roof. For every single thing, all the wiring I did it myself, and it's been working for 4 years now. So I think
Mhm.
I
You did a
tried.
good job.
Yeah, so maybe I should go into that business now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I'm really a very hands-on person. So even till now, even I know I need to leave people, let people do their best work. I need to hire people that are good at what they do. But most times, when I see people doing things their own way, I'm tempted.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
jump in, but I need to fight myself. I need
Mhm.
to. Yeah.
Have you seen that meme of a Nigerian football coach?
No, no, no.
He's training a young guy, and he doesn't kick properly, and he's like, "You are done. You have no future in this sport. Me with my pregnant tummy, I'm better than you. You have no future." It's like that, like I feel like that's what business owners go through, right?
Yes.
It's like, even though your staff is probably better than you, right? But
Yes.
because you hired them, you feel like they're the toddlers, right? And you're the adult. You're like, don't, and don't is a word that people use a lot, I feel like, in business at
Exactly.
least, right? More than do, they're like, don't. Yeah, I once talked to a business owner who said, KPI documents, right? When a new person comes in, the knowledge based transfer, whatever they do to the new employee, and he said, I have more don'ts in there than do's.
Oh,
It's like, in terms of crisis, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So he's like,
exactly.
if I can just tell people not to do something, they will probably figure out what to do. Yeah. So in your current business, right, what do you offer, and how does your business work?
Okay, so my current business, when I had those other businesses, the advantage I had in all of them, like I said, I started a couple of food businesses, but I still don't know how to cook to save my life.
Mhm.
So the advantage I had in all of them was using technology to have an advantage over other people doing the same thing. So when I started those same business, I always made far more money than people doing the same thing because, like,
Mhm.
for instance, in the food business of 2014, I was using Facebook ads. Then most people were using Facebook ads for their business, and it wasn't
Yes.
as competitive as it is now. Then you just put
Yes.
up a nice food picture, and everybody's buying and struggling to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so things like that. Then I was using Google
Mhm.
Sheets. It wasn't too popular too. But
Mhm.
I was able to, with my other partners, wherever we are, we can just go on Google Sheets and we see what's happening in the business and all that. So I
Mhm.
always had this. Then I had a procurement business back in around that 2015 where we used to
Mm-hmm.
supply chemicals to oil and gas companies. Oil and gas is really big in Nigeria. So we used to supply
Mm-hmm.
oil and gas chemicals. And how I was marketing them was I'll just write get triethylene glycol in Port Harcourt, get monoethylene glycol in Port Harcourt, just do articles on that. And so many people call all day. And I
Mm-hmm.
just received the call. I just called, do you have this? Okay, supply to me. So I supply to them. Very simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't have a warehouse, but I was making a lot more money than people who had warehouses because I knew
Mm-hmm.
technology. I had that advantage with technology
Yeah.
and all that. So a lot of people, business owners, used to ask me questions. So how are you doing this? How are you able to do this? We have our salespeople go out to companies every day and try to market, yet we don't get as much volume as you do. So I kept asking these questions. So I'm like, so in 2018, I started this business, Target ICT. So the business was like, okay, see, I'm answering this question. So I should actually be able to charge people for answering this question. So Target
You
ICT was
see,
just basically a way.
yeah. You got the UK mindset, man. You got the UK mindset.
Charge for everything.
Just charge for everything. Yeah, got it. So you do help people with technology, if I
Yes,
am
yes,
guessing,
yes,
right?
yes.
And how big is your business today, or is it like worldwide, or is it only based on your country, or how big is it?
Okay, so the business was, I started the business when I was living in Leicester back in 2018. That's in the UK. So it's actually a UK registered business.
Mhm.
I pay taxes in the UK. I have a
Why?
choice. but I think what I realized was taxes in the UK are actually more friendly for businesses, not for people. For businesses,
Yeah.
taxes are actually more friendly for businesses. So I think what I have now is perfect. I pay my business
Hmm.
taxes in the UK, I pay my personal taxes in Nigeria, and I'm living la vida loca. so, so the business basically serves most of my clients are in the US. I have a
Hmm.
few in Canada. I don't really have that much in the UK, but most are in the US, Canada. I think the US is practically the biggest market for everything right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't think you'd expect clients from UK. They are struggling to eat. They are
I
struggling to
think
pay rent.
I think my most in Nigeria, most people's perception of people in the UK is that people in the UK are very stingy.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
they
living there,
are.
I actually got to understand why.
Yeah, because they just don't have any other option, man. Right? So, how many employees do you have now, or is it just you?
Okay. Yeah, so my the full time employee I have is my assistant, my executive assistant. So
Hmm.
that one handles my schedule, my calendar, all those annoying things for me.
Hmm.
But what I learned from the other businesses was that it's better to work with freelancers for most things.
Yes, yes, I agree with it.
It is because
Yeah, but
those
also
businesses
for
that had
for a job, yeah, but also for a business that's established in UK, it's better to work with
Oh
freelancers.
yes, yes, yes. It is because like when I had those four businesses at the same time, those people I talked about coming to the office and piling their work on me were all full time
Hmm.
people, and I
Yeah.
realized you get the most experience, you get the most efficient people from
Hmm.
you do most efficient results from freelancers. So
Yeah.
what I do these days, most of my projects, the people
Hmm.
working on projects for me, most people that work projects for me, they're all freelancers. They are really the best at what they do. And,
Hmm.
when they're the best at what they do, most of them will refuse, they will outrightly refuse to come and work full time for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, I have different freelancers for each project category or these things. So I just say, okay, if we have this project, this person works on it, then most of what I do is project manage if I have to. So
Hmm.
that's basically to make sure that the results are what
Yeah.
I want, yeah, to my
But also,
standard.
it also feels like if you work with freelancers, they tend to finish projects on time or before time,
Yes,
right?
because
Because
they are not waiting for. I think one thing I've noticed with people working full time is most times they just want to do the bare minimum each day to justify that salary. at the end
Yeah.
of the month. So
Yeah, because it also that's how the corporate is designed, right? You know,
yes,
because you're asking them to stay for so many hours rather than finishing the work. So they're like,
exactly.
yeah, man, fuck you. I ain't doing the work quickly. Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know in Nigeria, but in India, it's the same case. There are
Yes.
contractors who are in real estate, and if you give them the contract of the full house, they'd probably build it in like 2 to 3 months. And if you hire labor to build house, it will take you nearly a year,
Yes.
and you would go crazy.
Yeah,
You would go
because you're paying the
crazy because
laborers daily pay, so
yes,
they need
yeah,
as
and
many
also it's like
days.
the quality of work is shit. You have to monitor everything. But if you give it to a contractor, he gets it done in 2 to 3 months, and it's quality work because otherwise he won't get
Yes,
paid.
you won't get paid
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think for small businesses, freelancers are the best way, right?
They're
But
the
it also
best.
makes sense to have one or two full-time employees, right?
Yes.
As you grow the brand, because as you said, you cannot be the fire service all the time, you know right? In the future, you would probably hire one or two experts who would work for you for full time, who do project management, and you would
Yes,
just
yes, yes.
be living your life. Right?
Looking for new clients, basically.
Yes. Yeah. So do you do your own marketing or do you outsource it?
I tried to outsource marketing for a bit,
Hmm.
but it wasn't really getting me the results I wanted, and I
Hmm.
was spending a lot on that.
Hmm.
And I realized, like I said before, now I used to have businesses where I'm good at writing ads. I can write ads
Hmm.
that work because all those businesses, yeah, the ads were really like back then I used to do like 10 times returns on my ads. So I really have that this thing to really communicate, to really understand the buyer, know what they want from me,
Hmm.
and just give them just that's what they want. So I
Got it.
realized, okay, so I said yes, I decided to just take over the marketing function myself.
Hmm.
So yes, I do my
So,
own.
mhm, got it. So, do you have closers in sales or do you just do it by yourself? Because I see that more and more service based businesses hire closers as freelancers, who close the deals on a daily basis. So,
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
feel
yeah.
that is something that you would do, or you're just working on your own?
Yeah, I have someone that if I'm running adverts and maybe a
Hmm.
lot of there's more calls than I can handle. Yeah, I have someone that I can always push them to that
Hmm.
paper. What do they call it? Paper close deal on commission.
Yeah,
But if it's just when it's organic and all that, I handle that myself because it's
yeah, got
part
it.
of why I got on the podcast so I can be more comfortable having these discussions with people.
Yes. And what's your like typical ticket size? Is it what? How big is it? Is it like within $5,000, or is it what's the average ticket size on your business?
Okay, our average ticket size for projects is between maybe $3,000 and $10,000 for the first payment if we're using dollars.
Got it. Um, okay, I would say that's a large ticket business, right? You're like, I could charge them more. You do not understand. I could charge them more. Yeah, I mean, you could charge them more if you had like a made in USA banner on your
Yeah,
website.
veteran owned.
Yeah, that's the way you could charge them more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I felt it when you said yeah, because you're like, I could charge them more, man. I just don't choose to. Right. So, do you think would you ever retire?
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no. Because
Why?
I've actually seen I enjoy what I do because when
Hmm.
I talked about at a point where I had four businesses at a time, when
Hmm.
I shut them down, when I decided to go for what I would focus on,
Hmm.
What I do now is something I'll do. Okay, like I was doing it without getting paid before I realized I can actually set a company and charge people for the advice I was giving. So it's something,
Got it.
so it's something I can do without getting paid. It's something I really enjoy. I enjoy solving problems. Like I said, opening
Hmm.
TVs and like the laptop behind, I've opened it more than once. so figuring
Yeah.
so figuring out
Yeah.
problems, I actually feel excitement, feel this thing when
Hmm.
I figure out something difficult,
Hmm.
solve something difficult and all that. So yeah, I don't think I'll retire. Maybe I'll tone down what I do, or maybe I'll be
Yeah.
doing something different. But I think I'll get sick if I just sit doing nothing. But I can't imagine
Hmm.
myself doing that.
Got it. So, if you had to land a very big client, who would that be?
If I had to land a very big client, maybe it would be something like a very big client I'll land would be maybe, let's say, Walmart.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe Walmart or
Got it.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was afraid you'd say like Sam from ChatGPT.
No,
Yeah, he
I'm Sam's client.
yeah, he just asked for like $3 trillion investment, man. I don't know why
Wow.
people aren't investing.
And he'll probably spend it all on Nvidia.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, do you? How good are you with technology in terms of enjoying technology instead of using it?
You say how?
Like, people who use ChatGPT for work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people like me mess with it just for fun. Like we try to tweak technology just to because
Yeah.
that's how I enjoy technology, right? It's a game
Yeah.
for me, to be honest. So do you enjoy like tweaking technology?
Oh, oh, oh! Okay. I think that's part of me opening everything up. Like if you look at my desk now, my desk is really messy. I have like a
Hmm.
Bluetooth speaker here. I have two routers here. I have a couple of I have a lot of things here, and like I have a what do they call it, a multimeter here that I opened up because it was
Hmm.
giving the wrong voltage. I'm trying to learn how
Hmm.
to solder. So that's me. Nobody's paying me for all
Hmm.
these things. So
Yeah.
I've always been a
Yeah.
gadget freak. Yes, I
Uh-huh.
actually enjoy playing with same thing with you. I actually enjoy playing with
Hmm.
technology. Software, not really. I think I'm more of, I play more with hardware than
Hardware. Yeah.
software. Yeah, I play more with hardware
Yeah.
than software. And I think part of that is because for the past few years I've been having my eyes
Hmm.
if I stay too long on the computer or on the phone, my eyes get inflamed. So maybe that's why I
Hmm.
don't play with software that much. So I try to take as much time away from screens as I can.
Uh-huh. So it's a biological hindrance rather than
Yes, if not,
anything
I
else.
probably if not, I would have probably left all these things. Like the multimeter, I think
Yeah.
I've ruined it though.
Hmm.
It's gone.
Yeah. Got it. And yeah, if people want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
I think the only two things. I think back then I said I was an introvert, and I'm trying not to be an introvert. But at the end of the day, I think I still am an introvert because I don't update any of my social media. So the
Hmm.
only two things I update are my LinkedIn. That's just search for my name, Peter Banigo on LinkedIn. I'm the only one with the name for now till they give birth to someone else. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
then apart from my LinkedIn, my podcast, Tech Your Business. So techyourbusinesspodcast.com. I think those are the only
Hmm.
two things I update for now. Everything else is probably 2021.
Got it. So, to my audience, guys, if you want to talk to Peter or anything about technology, just reach out to him on LinkedIn. Maybe he will respond. I don't know. if he's not busy, maybe. Yeah, and if you're interested in automating or ITing your own business, please get in touch with him. All the both of the links will be in the description. So yeah, just go out there and check him out and see what he can bring into your business. Peter, any final words for my audience?
Okay, for your audience, I think one thing I'll share, one thing I learned is that focus is a really powerful thing. And that's
Mhm.
something I learned going from four businesses to one business. Because when I had four businesses, I think, let's say this month three will make money, this then one will lose all the money the three made, or two will make money.
Yeah.
And two lose all the money the other two made. So it was just pushing money from this business to this business. I didn't really have much to myself. I think I enjoy traveling a lot. I travel a lot. I like visiting new countries, new places,
Hmm.
and all that. So it was when I moved to having only one business, I realized at the end of the day, focusing on one thing, I had more money to myself than
Hmm.
having four businesses, which is what a lot of people say, okay, multiple streams of income and all that. But
Hmm.
to me, it was the other way around. One business gave me the life I wanted compared to having four. So focus is a very powerful thing, and focus plus consistency is one thing everybody,
Hmm.
whatever you want to do, if be it business, be it okay, I've been on a fitness journey for since January 2023.
Hmm.
I was overweight. I think I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Since January 2023, I've not. There's no day I haven't walked less than 6,000 steps because my business makes me sick too much. So I make before I started the
Yes.
podcast, I did like how many am I at? I'm at 2,500. So once we are done,
Hmm.
I'll complete my 6,000. So
Hmm.
every single day, I do 6,000 steps, and I've lost for the Americans about 44 pounds for more than 44
Indians.
pounds
Yeah. What about
for the
Indians, man?
Indians, more
Come
than
on.
20 kilos
Good.
for the
Good.
Indians and Nigerians, more than
Yes.
20 kilos. Yeah,
Yeah.
doing that, going to the gym. So,
Got
and I
it.
think the only thing that made that work is consistency, doing it every day. Because I've tried to lose the weight, I've tried to be fit so many times, but I do it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then I forget it, and I go back to more worse than where I started. But at least for the past 2 years, consistency, focus, I've
Hmm.
done so much more than I would have done being distracted and starting and stopping things. So focus, consistency,
Hmm.
very important for everything: life, business, relationships, everything.
Got it. Thank you so much for being here, Peter. Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for helping my audience learn few things, right, about learning business or just life in general. And yeah, to my audience, thank you guys. This is the end of the episode, and until next episode, take care and bye bye.
Thank you.